Good morning, aspirants. It's 17th of September today, and I welcome you all on today's edition of What to Read in the Hindu newspaper. While going through the articles, we will not only see its relevance with regard to prelims and mains, but we'll also try interlink it with other GS papers as well. I am here to align your newspaper reading as a part of our GS syllabus. So let's get started. The very first article that catches our attention in today's paper and is relevant for our exam majorly talks about Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, says UN Commission. So now this particular article is majorly relevant with regard to GS paper 2 under the theme IR, UN reforms and humanitarian law. From prelims perspective, the areas wherein we have to brush up our knowledge is on knowing about UN altogether, what is ICJ, genocide conventions, and the theme that has been discussed in this particular article majorly talks about accountability in global conflict. From prelims perspective, we need to know about ICJ, UNHRC, genocide conventions. From mains perspective, we need to know India's position on humanitarian crisis, multipolar world order, UN as whether this organization is a credible organization or not. So a lot of debates in and around this particular topic revolves, and we need to know this particular article in this manner. Moving on, the next important article that is relevant to read in today's paper majorly talks about Sabarimala temple. Sabarimala again in spotlight as Sangamam state's political plot. Now, this particular article is relevant with regard to GS paper 2 polity, wherein religious institutions and its governance structure are being discussed. This is also relevant for GS paper 1, wherein culture, temple traditions, and religious practices have been discussed. At the same time, this can be seen as an epic example of faith, tradition, and modern governance, which often lies at conflict. From prelims perspective, we need to know about 𝗨𝗏𝗃𝗍𝗏 board, its 2018 judgment with regard to women's entry on Supreme Court's behalf. At the same time, we need to know about whether balancing religious freedom with gender equality is it right in case of faith and religion altogether. So in this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen. Now, the next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention is on editorials page, and that majorly talks about the rift that we often see with regard to governors and state machinery at times. So this particular article is relevant with regard to constitution under article 200, 201. With regard to mains perspective, we need to know about the role of center-state relations and the conflicts arising it when the states are governed by opposition parties. The epic example of this is Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal. Afterwards, we need to know about the role of governor, judicial power with regard to it, constitutional checks and balances that have been maintained. From prelims perspective, the power of governor and presidential role, recent Supreme Court ruling with regard to it. From mains perspective, the same article is to be seen through the lens of governor's neutrality, whether the debates around it, federalism challenges, and the reform debate that is need of the hour to cope up the challenges that we are facing in case of center state conflict that we are seeing nowadays. Moving on, the next important article that is there in the newspaper and that majorly talks about judicial experimentalism versus the right to justice. Now, this particular article, the key theme that has been discussed in this particular article majorly talks about the misuse of section 498 of IPC, right? So, which is now being considered into section 85 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that is BNS. So, this particular article is relevant with regard to GS2, judiciary and vulnerable sections, criminal justice reforms, and at the same time GS1, women related issues as well. So from prelims perspective, the areas wherein we have to brush up our knowledge is on gender justice versus the misuse of law that has been alleged in case of section 498 of IPC. Afterwards, we need to know here a lot of judgments that has been talked about, as in Arnesh Kumar case of 2014, Lalita Kumari case of 2013, Rajesh Sharma case of 2017. So all the judgments are to be read and revised. And I have already underlined this in this particular article. From mains perspective, the same article is to be seen through the lens of balancing women's protection with due process of rights. So in this manner, this particular article is to be seen. In addition to it, we can even refer to NCRB data, National Crime Report Bureau data, with regard to rising crime against women, the conviction rate with regard to sections such as 498 and all. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. Moving on, the next important article that is there in the paper, and that talks about majorly making healthcare safe for every Indian. Now, when we map this into our GS syllabus, this will primarily fall under GS paper 2, healthcare delivery, governance, and sustainable development goal number 3. Right. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article majorly talks about safe healthcare practices and institutional frameworks that is needed. Afterwards, from prelims perspective, we need to know WHO, its role, its initiative. Then today is National Patient Day. So National Patient Safety Framework, do we have developed it or not? From prelims perspective, we need to know NABH accreditation, who gets it, what are the process, WHO action plan with regard to patient safety. From mains perspective, whatever gaps that we are seeing nowadays with regard to patient safety and quality of healthcare, role of regulations. At times, we have seen cases wherein private healthcare institutions charges exorbitant amount of fees. So all these issues that we are seeing in the form of healthcare altogether needs to be read and revised. Also, we have to see with data as well. For example, we can even read and revise the latest National Family Health Survey 5 and 5. So in this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen. Moving on, the next important article that is there in the paper, and that majorly talks about AI. So unseen labor, exploitation, the hidden human cost of artificial intelligence. Now, this particular article, when we map in our syllabus, will fall under GS paper 3, technology, labor reforms, and ethical AI. From prelims perspective, the areas that we have to know, economy and science and tech, in particular AI and data economy. The key theme that has been discussed over here is talking about human cost behind this AI. Afterwards, we need to know about the basics of ML and AI, that is data annotations, outsourcing, and what are the ILO conventions with regard to it. From mains perspective, the same article is to be seen through the lens of labor rights in gig economy or digital economy and ethics of automations. The chances of losing or getting away of jobs, which is a major threat nowadays in economy altogether. And at the same time, there is a debate also wherein a new form of jobs would be created when we integrate AI and ML into our economy. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. And the last important article for the day majorly talks about WHO's health medicine with regard to diabetes. So, yes, on WHO essential medicine list, GLP-1 drugs for diabetes weight loss may become cheaper. So when we map this article in our syllabus, it will fall under GS paper 2, healthcare and public policy, also GS paper 3, wherein medicine, economy, NCD, obesity, and pharma sectors, how much it contribute to the economy will be addressed. from prelims perspective, we need to know WHO, its role, India's healthcare spending, center and state both combined. What are the improvements that is required? What is GLP receptor? Afterwards, we need to know about uh, policy for NCDs that we have developed, non-communicable diseases, affordability, health equity, that is need of the hour, the divide that we are saying with regard to urban and rural areas, how equity in this particular manner, this issue could be obtained. So this is all from my end for today's Hindu newspaper. Till we meet for the next time,